Good morning, good morning, good morning. Ooh, heaven help me. Good morning, Beats Band. Good morning, Lindsay. I'm doing fine. How's your morning going, Lindsay, so far? Good morning, Andrew. Ooh. What was the baby breakthrough about? What are you now better at, Lindsay? that's really important. It's really an important thing to know how to do, Lindsay. Um, there are so many things, small things, in learning how to make music that take very little time. Somehow, they're just not as tantalizing, so you don't learn how to do them. There's so many things, even in Fruit Loops, that I don't know how to do, that I know it'll take me like 2 seconds to learn how to do. But for whatever reason, I haven't gotten to it. One thing is my latency compensation for my recordings for my keyboard is on really high, so it slides anything I record, a few milliseconds earlier to compensate for lag, and there is no lag, so it ends up making everything I record actually record earlier than when I recorded it, which is really weird and complicated. Good morning, Kiwi. personality. Ooh, I would say it ooh out loud. Lindsay. I don't know that I. Oh no, I say it out loud a lot. I guess. Never mind. Good morning, Jordan. As the rundown from Pinball says, JD. Oh, is there witchy at Pinball? flashing milk tea. Okay, guys. Whoa! I almost did a full hour of the morning medley. I feel good, guys. If you're in the stream and you like the stream, this is your reminder to like the stream, like physically like the stream. Thanks, Lindsay. I appreciate it. Word out, Nicholas. Oh wow. You know, I haven't had a car alarm in a really long time. I mean, no, that's not true. That's not true. That's not true. I guess my car alarm just never gets tripped by anything. Huh. If I really, yeah. Anyways, okay. Nicholas is here. Thank you, Nicholas. I appreciate your kind words. Ooh. Same to you, Akashi. Appreciate you as well, guys. It is Thursday. It is 189, which means that this Friday tomorrow is another production stream. I have been up pretty late, guys. Yeah. Sky, I always sleep through the earthquakes. But this earthquake in particular, I was awake for. If I'm awake, I can feel it. But yeah, if I'm asleep, an earthquake usually never wakes me up. I feel like the rocking and shaking is actually really comfortable for my body if I'm going to be sleeping. But anywho, yeah, everybody. There was an earthquake in LA early this morning. It was fine. Nothing's broken. Nothing matters. It's fine. I got the end, but it was a great stream, says Joshua. Thanks, Joshua. Well, the stream's not over, but you got the end of the morning medley, which I understand is confusing because the stream is literally called the morning medley. Usually, in the stream, at least a few times a week, I try to have an hour of unmitigated, playing, and then I get to actually engaging in the chat. Nature's massage chair, says Akashi. Okay. Sounds like you'd enjoy sleeping on a boat, says Peas Bean. I don't know. So here's the thing, Peas Bean. I do like, I like being, like, rocked or shaped like a baby, But I've heard of way too many people getting seasick by being on a boat. I don't know. Maybe I would enjoy sleeping on a boat, but not necessarily walking around on and existing on a boat in general. Who knows? I've actually never been on a boat. Alright, let me take that back. I've never been on, like, a boat at sea. So, I don't really have any, feelings about boats or maritime life. Cracks his joints. Could you imagine the earth just getting quakes every time it's chiropractor cracks his joints? Chiropractors scare me. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, they scare me too, darn. Been on a speedboat on the lakes. Yeah. I've been on like boats on lakes, but I feel like a boat on the ocean where there's like actual tides and stuff like that might be a little bit different. We've talked about being on the open ocean here before. I don't know about that. Being on the open ocean. Lindsay is unsure. Lindsay doesn't trust the open waters. Kiwi has also not gone out to sea. The sea spooks me. They don't know. I see the sea. I see the ocean as kind of like a, oh my god. Nicholas, are you really moving to Bakersfield? Nicholas, is that a joke? Nicholas, from where? What's happening? Sorry. Anyways, the ocean, I feel like the ocean was like a hindrance. It was a thing that needed to be crossed in order to get to more land. Spending an extended period of time on it just doesn't interest me so much. I don't find great bodies of water as pretty as I think most people do. Okay. Dar likes looking at how boats interact with waters. Is there something on my shirt? Yeah. It's a woman. She's flying. It's a flying woman. It's Jeannie's art. It's the same, you know Jeannie. She did the art to 1/million. I have quite a bit of merch by her, but this shirt's one of them, and also my wallet is a piece of Jeannie merch. Umbe says seawater is nice, a good smell. Hmm. Word. All right, guys. All right. So at the end of the at the end of yesterday's stream, or more towards the middle, I finally solidified or started to slowly solidify the piece of music that goes. But then I ended up moving it to a different key, so now I play it. I think the melody. Well, I don't think I know now. The melody did change because the melody was originally into. I feel like the second one adds something very small, which is a shift into a higher octave, which I like. I feel like when changing that key, I don't kind of want it to fall. I feel like maybe that's the thing I do a lot when changing a key. I'll have the melody come down. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's just coincidence, but I like the second one where it goes up. Yeah, it's different. It's different, guys. Um, God, but now I want to put both of them in there. There already is a key change. I think there's a key change. Something really interesting about any skill, fast skills, piano, video games, whatever, quick skills to learn, is that yeah, I love the feeling of struggling with something and just keeping at it and then seeing very very notable quick improvements in your ability to do this thing. I think when I first started trying to play this it was really hard to play up here for a minute. It was really hard to play up there, but you know, maybe like 50 run throughs of that, and now it feels pretty natural to me. Um, I think I think that's with learning anything in a different key. I'm trying to really, yeah, get really natural at that. Get really natural at that. I learned something yesterday. I learned the difference between learning something or improving at something intrinsically, gaining experience intrinsically, or improvement extrinsically. I learned that, and I'm so glad that I learned those terms because it's something very important that I think about in gaming. I think I prefer intrinsic um, difficulty curves in games as opposed to extrinsic or difficulty, challenges. And for anybody on the stream that doesn't know what that means, just like I didn't yesterday, I guess intrinsic would be kind of like playing a game like maybe Sekiro. I feel like a lot of people in the stream haven't played that. So maybe a game like Street Fighter. Playing a game like Street Fighter causes intrinsic growth because I know there's tiers in fighting games, but for all case and purposes, no matter how long you play the game, your character or the characters on screen are not going to improve or get any new thing. You're not going to achieve a bigger sword or take more damage or be able to deal more damage or take less damage. There's no buffs or debuffs really in Street Fighter. You kind of just have to, hi Kmon, you kind of just have to improve intrinsically, which is that you yourself, your reaction time, your expectations, your ability to manipulate the game improves. You, as the human, become better at the game. And then extrinsic would be more like Final Fantasy, where you have to gain experience in the game, like fake experience, not experience to you, the player, but literal EXP for the polygons on the screen for them to become stronger and more adept to like overcome a task. A good example of an intrinsic game, if we're talking about RPGs, is a game where you can beat the entire game based off of skill. Like somebody could take your move set and your equipment from the first level and put you at the final boss fight, and you could still beat them. Whereas extrinsic would be like, no matter how good you are at the game, if you haven't put enough time, if you haven't sunk literally enough time into it, you will not be able to win. You can't speed run. Well, you can effectively speed run an extrinsic game, but it's going to take a little bit longer. Did you watch the Shenmue review that one guy made? He made the exact same examples. No, I was watching a completely different video game review. That's amazing. I mean, well, I guess it's not that amazing. Gaming, what I'm talking about is gaming. But no. Okay, so Joshua, I don't want to get too much into Shenmue, but I only played the first one, and I loved that game. The second one came out for Xbox, which I did not own, so I was not able to play the second Shenmue game. But I know a lot of people that played the second one that never played the first one because they didn't own a Dreamcast. It's a nightmare. But when Shenmue 3 came out, I didn't even want to play it. Granted, I haven't played 2, so that's pretty important to note here. But I didn't even want to play it. Isn't that weird? I loved that game. I loved that game. Anyways, did you play 3? Who asked this? Who said this? Did you play Shenmue 3, Joshua? Maybe don't spoil it if somebody in the stream wants to play it, but did you play it? This guy says Hyper Light Drifter is intrinsic. Yeah, Hyper Light Drifter is an intrinsic game, I suppose. Which one did I say I prefer versus intrinsic and extrinsic? I actually don't have a preference. It depends on the genre of the game. Right? It depends on the genre of the game. Because there are some games where they're very RPG oriented. Maybe I prefer like more of a hybrid, because I think of a game like Horizon Zero Dawn, which Horizon Zero Dawn is, it's one of the games that left one of the biggest impressions on me. Like, that game's amazing. That game's amazing. And I think that it plays both, right? Intrinsic and extrinsic, where like you don't necessarily gain experience that I remember and level up per se, but you do gain tools that can only really be achieved by putting in time. But you could maybe go through the entire game with just your beginning moveset instead of tools. Play long enough and your weapons outclass everyone else's, Jesse. Talking about extrinsic stuff. Same with Rocket League. The skill you've put into controlling those cars is ridiculous, says Nicholas. Joshua Fleming says, yeah, he was talking about the gameplay where Shenmue's combat was built so much on your own skill, whereas Shenmue 3 had you grind to get certain skills. Interesting. Oh, Joshua, so it's like Shenmue 3 more of like an RPG? Is there like a leveling system then? Oh wait, you say Shenmue was before I started gaming, so I missed out, but Shenmue 3 seemed like it lacked. So you didn't play Shenmue 1. I don't think I would even try to get into Shenmue. Word, Shenmue 1, I don't really want to talk about Shenmue 1 in the stream. All I'll say is Shenmue 1 is an amazing game that pretty much most sandbox games now and narrative-driven games like owe a lot of their structure to Shenmue. Shenmue was like way ahead of its time, and it was a very fun game. Um, Anyways, that's all I have to say about Shenmue. Seems like the species gets leaves up at 16, leaves up to 16, and the sky. Shenmue's combat looks super cool and interesting, though, says Joshua. Shenmue was so good. Shenmue was so, but don't let me talk about it, Joshua. Don't let me talk about it. I can't wait to get the next Horizon. That's definitely my favorite game out of this console generation. Jesse, I'm so hesitant to ever like put the word favorite on the thing because I feel like if I tried to pick a favorite, we'd be here for hours and hours. So I can't say that that game is my favorite. But yeah, Horizon Zero Dawn, I would say, here's why Horizon Zero Dawn is important to me. It's because a lot of AAA titles are really, really good at building story, building out characters, making a unique, interesting, I don't know, gameplay model. But I think that I particularly was kind of in an ocean of no new IPs where it was like, here's a new Assassin's Creed, here's a new Call of Duty, here's a new Uncharted, here's a new Last of Us. It was like there was just a lot of like sequels of things. There wasn't a lot of like brand new ideas that were super intriguing. Horizon Zero Dawn was that. Horizon Zero Dawn, that game is freaking amazing. I can't recommend that game enough to anybody. That game is good. Anyways, how long have you been playing piano, says Nicholas? I'm not exactly sure. I don't know. More than 5 years, I'll tell you that much. Like 8? I don't know. I moved to LA 5 years ago, and I moved here with the keyboard, so yeah, definitely more than like, I would say maybe upwards of 8. Jesse says, Shenmue set up so much of what we consider common now, like QuickTime events. Yes, QuickTime events is a Shenmue thing. Thank you, Jesse. Shenmue really made games possible. Okay. Lindsay says, I believe in your baby planet. Oh, Lindsay's talking to Sky. Nicholas says, Horizon Zero Dawn was underrated. Love that game so much. Here's the weird thing, Nicholas. I feel like Horizon Zero Dawn, the fact that we're getting a sequel and the fact that it had as great of reviews as it did, it was appropriately rated, but yeah, I just don't feel like I hear a lot of people talk about it that much. As far as in the like mainstream AAA gaming world, like people kind of were like, oh yeah, I skipped that one. Was it good? And I'm so glad I played it because I kind of played it on a whim. I saw like a gameplay trailer for it like a year or two before it even came out. And then when it came out, I was like, oh yeah, that thing's out. I guess I'll pick that up. Like, nobody told me to play it. I didn't like watch a review or anything. But yeah, that game was amazing. My boyfriend's old roommate was an absolute Zero Dawn nerd. Word up. Word up. Yeah, I like it. I like it. I feel like I don't know that I call myself a nerd at the game, but I do love that game. I tried to get into Horizon Zero Dawn, but I get motion sickness from it. You know what's interesting, Peace B? I'm actually kind of glad you brought that up. So, I am not a motion sick person. I never really get motion sickness from anything my entire life. That's just not been a thing that I've been able to relate to. I know I've had a lot of friends that are like, I can't like read in a car because I'll get sick, or I can't sit in the back seat because I'll get sick, or I can't do this because I'll get sick. I can't play this game. And I remember the first time I ever got sick while playing a game. It was, I had eaten, I'm not going to talk about what I had eaten, but I had put a lot of garbage in my body, and me and my friend were playing Star Wars Episode 1 Pod Racer. It was just that Star Wars racing game, which, by the way, was not good, but, it was out, and so we played it. And I remember putting on the first-person view, and I did throw up. And I thought, that was weird. And it never happened again, ever. And then only recently, I mean super recently, like last year, when I was playing Control, the game Control, which is another really, really good and criminally slept on game. I would put Control up there with Horizon Zero Dawn as far as like narrative and play it like the way the game is played. So good. Anyways, that game made me sick, and I think that not like I didn't throw up, but I remember playing it for like maybe an hour eight, hour like 7 or 8 of playing Control. I remember being like, oh, I don't feel so good, and I think it's because that game has insane motion blur. Like you turn the camera and everything kind of like it fits in with the style of the game, but that game is waist deep in motion blur, and I think that that might be what was doing it to me. Just a lot of little motion blur over several hours will make me feel a little queasy, I guess. One of my favorite parts of seeing Red Rocks and Zero Dawn, says Nicholas. Spoilers. If I get if I get the PS5, Horizon Zero Dawn is on my list along with Spider-Man. Same, Joshua. Just because I don't see anything else for PS5 that looks intriguing at all. Could be the FOV. I get field of view. I get motion sickness when the field of view is too high, says JD. Wow. The human body, huh? What about it? Joshua says, in an open world, it's kind of like a post-apocalypse, I guess. There's robot dinosaurs in your caveman girl. I love man girl. I love caveman girl instead of cave girl. Because, yeah, cave girl sounds ridiculous for some reason. But caveman girl sounds about right. Yeah, Diz, it's just post-apocalypse. Yeah, it's just Pokeapocalypse. Jesus Christ. It's, yeah. But it does a lot with that genre. I think that, you can do a lot with a genre, right? We've seen several zombie games, but then not Horizon Zero Dawn. The Last of Us was very interesting because it wasn't really a zombie game. It was the video game equivalent of, like, the fourth arc in the Walking Dead comics, where it's like, oh, I don't think I'm reading a zombie comic. I think I'm reading just, like, a comic book about, like, people and how greed and revenge and stuff works. And I think that, The Last of Us did that in gaming, like, I don't know, 8 years ago, whenever the first one came out. So, yeah, it does. It is a post-apocalypse, It seems like the Earth has ended. There's a lot of, like, oh, that's a highway, but there's, like, grass and stuff on it. Wow, amazing. But, what it does with that genre past that point is actually really, really interesting. Um, boom, 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 boom. Is Zero Dawn a PlayStation exclusive? Yes, maybe. I'm bad at that. Usually, if there's a game that comes out on PlayStation, I buy it, and I just assume that it's on everything. But I know that this is a poor assumption to make. I don't know if it's an exclusive, Diz, but I'm going to assume that it is. I think PC release might be soon, says Joshua, talking about Horizon Zero Dawn. PC release coming this August. At least I think they're talking about Horizon Zero Dawn. Omni, get Hollow Knight, says Christopher Barron. Christopher Barron, I have Hollow Knight and I beat it about a year ago. No, longer. Like a year and a half ago? Almost 2 years ago? Yeah. But thank you for the recommendation, Christopher Barron. Not to just like turn it down like, hey, I've already beat that game. But it was a very good game and I did enjoy it quite a bit, Christopher. I appreciate its difficulty curve a lot. I think that a lot of people... Hold on. I think that a lot of people have recommended me games based off of difficulty because they're like, oh, Omni's like good at hard games, and so they'll just like tell me to play things based off of difficulty. The games do have to be good, guys. They can't just be hard, It can't just be, oh, Omni, play this like really difficult roguelike. It's like I have to also enjoy the game. And Hollow Knight was a good example of a game that was very hard, but also very... Actually, was it very hard? It was enjoyable, I'll put it that way. It was a very good game. I think there's this weird, like... Is the game hard? Oh. Difficulty. Difficulty is really weird to parse in games because there are some games that I will openly admit to feeling like were harder than others. Like I think that if I'm gonna take, let me just take two random games. This might be divisive, but I personally feel like Sekiro was more difficult than Devil May Cry 3, which was a very difficult game when it came out. You guys might remember, had you played it. Um, I could say that Sekiro was more difficult than Devil May Cry 3, but I think that I had less trouble with Sekiro than Devil May Cry 3. And what I'm saying making sense? I can recognize that one game is very hard even though it doesn't give me particularly any difficulty. And I can openly conclude that another game is very, or not very easy, but pretty simple, but gave me difficulty. And I think that while Hollow Knight, I only ran into like two hiccups with Hollow Knight, um, which both were bosses. You know, I think it is a difficult game. I can see somebody being like, "Oh, it's too hard. I can't beat this. I don't want to play this anymore." Yeah. Difficulty is multidimensional. Yeah, Jesse, thank you. That's what I was basically trying to say in so many words. A lot of people just say this game is hard, but they don't really explain what makes it hard. And there are certain games that I know are difficult that some people will just never really be able to beat. Like, it's not even a thing that they don't have the tools to be able to beat it, right? Um, if anybody in the stream has played The Witness, which is another game, I would say that The Witness is very difficult, but for so many different reasons than Hollow Knight, and it took me about the same amount of time to beat. Wow. Oh man, I don't want to really talk about The Witness, but if you ever get a chance to play The Witness, please talk to me afterwards because oh my god, yeah, that game is wild. Both The Witness and Braid, um, both of which are by the same person, by the way. The Witness and Braid are two of the only. There's a small list, but they're both on the list of games that I've walked away from, done other things in life, and realized how to do something in the game while I was doing I'm like at work doing stuff, and I'm like, oh crap, I think I figured out how to beat that thing, or I think I figured out how to get over that wall, or I think I figured it out, and then I go home, and then sure enough, I figured it out. It's super weird. It's weird. Both of those games like definitely like shackled my subconscious for like a week or so. Joshua says Dungeon Crawler, its main pull is that there's random pickups and upgrades which make for super runs, where depending on what upgrade abilities you find your super broken runs and just a bunch of fun. Not an FPS though, it's more like a top-down thing, I believe. That's been my list for years. Should I need to play it? Have you played Outer Wilds? I have not. K3D9 one. I have not played it. Braid as a puzzle is absurd. No worries, Jesse. The Witness. I'm not gonna talk about The Witness here because I don't want to like spoil anything for anybody. But The Witness legitimately like made me sick. Now, this happens. Ooh. What? Don't forget that one on me. Anyways, The Witness made me physically ill, and sometimes games will make me physically ill, and I can't tell what it is because there's so many. There's a list of some like I'll get up from playing the game and I'll feel sick, and I'm like, okay, it could either be because of maybe some type of motion sickness. It could be because I have been playing this game for 9 straight hours and I haven't eaten anything. It could be because the game is emotionally pulling me in places that make me feel frustrated or stressed or anxious, and as a result, sick. I don't know why, but The Witness made me feel sick. And once I beat it. Somebody told me recently that Americans use the word beat when talking about games more than other people do. But a lot of other people will just say complete. Like, did you complete the game? Yeah, I finished it. I completed. But beating is more of an American thing. I'm gonna try to stop saying that. Anyways, once I finished The Witness, I finished it. But yeah, I hope you finish it. Finish it, Jesse. I'm also one of those people that I never really look up anything. I never look up anything while I play a game. Um, oh, there's so many things I wish I could talk about, but I need to wait for a lot of these games to be older before I can talk about them on the stream. But I go into a lot of games blind. You know how like a game will get announced? It's like, hey guys, it's Kingdom Hearts 3. Whoop, you're finally doing it. It's been 50 years and you're getting the trilogy closed. Somebody will announce Kingdom Hearts 3 and I'll go, sick, tell me when there's a date. And they'll say, freaking November 15th, baby. And I'll go, okay, cool. And then they'll release a trailer and I'll watch the trailer. And then they'll release a gameplay trailer and then they'll release some cutscenes and then they'll release some like weapons and what they look at. Then they'll release some mobs. They'll release like a bunch of stuff. They're just like breadcrumbing everybody down to the release. I never eat any of the breadcrumbs. I ignore them because I love going into games completely. Like I love going like kind of like going into movies. Like I like going into it knowing it is a thing that I'm interested in, but I don't want to know anything about the plot. I want to kind of go in without any preconceived notions. And I feel like time and time again with gaming, that plays into a game's rating sometimes later on. Very rarely movies, but in gaming, I feel like a lot of times a game will get a bad score when you listen to the people that are upset about it. They'll say, "This isn't what I expected," or "This isn't what I was promised," and I'm not slighting them for feeling that way because feeling lied to is definitely upsetting for some people, but I never have the opportunity to feel lied to because I just don't give myself the opportunity to soak in any information going into the play experience. So, I go into a lot of things blind, guys. And next time you look at a bad review, just like make sure, just say, I mean, out of curiosity or as an experiment, go and look in the review and see if you see people's expectations being not met or them being disappointed in what they expected from like a gameplay trailer or what they expected from a cutscene they saw on YouTube a week before it came out. Yeah, because it's silly. But anywho, because of that, I think that I have liked so many games more than other people have. I typically tend to like a game because I don't look up any information on the game. However, the one thing that can kind of sell me on games and movies is if people give me too much expectation for it. Like if everybody says, yo, you gotta play Half-Life, it's the best game ever played, that game is groundbreaking, it's gonna change your life, you're gonna cry, you're gonna laugh, you're gonna scream, you're gonna pull your hair out, and then you're gonna beat it, and you're gonna think, I never wanna play another game for the rest of my life. Somebody gives me that type of sell, like 9, 10 times, it does the same thing that happens to the angry video game reviewer where an expectation has been built up over time. And then they might play the game and it might not live up to those things. And that's not really the developer's fault or the writer's fault. It's more so just a human thing, a human thing. When your expectations aren't met, you can be disappointed. And so I try not to let expectations happen so much in gaming. So, saying all that to say that playing Witness, I went in blind. I had no idea what The Witness was about. I hadn't even seen a gameplay screenshot of The Witness. I just knew the name of the game and who made it, and I bought it, and then I played it, and I was like blown away. Same thing with Braid. Went in blind. Most games I go in blind. Horizon Zero Dawn, I went in blind. Didn't even know like the main character's name or anything like that. Wow. Yeah, I go into everything. Like people will like bug me. They're like, "Yo, did you see the new?" So it's just they just released a new gameplay trailer. There's 30 minutes of gameplay now that they released. I'm like, I don't want to see it. I don't want to look at it. I've never been the type that wants to look at that stuff, and I feel like it makes me enjoy games more. It makes me enjoy games more because I'm just the type of person that hates spoilers. I'm hypersensitive to spoilers for that reason. Some people can like read up a wiki synopsis of a game and then feel like they've played it, or they could like go to YouTube and then look up like all cutscenes in Final Fantasy IX, and they'll watch all the cutscenes and like look at somebody talk about, like a YouTuber say what happens in the game. They're like, ah, yes, I like Final Fantasy IX, even though they never actually played it. I think hmm, it's hard because a video game storytelling is such a weird medium. But I think that this is maybe divisive, but I think you need to play a game in order to um, be able to judge it. I think even if the game is mostly narrative, something like Detroit, Become Human, or something like Indigo Prophecy, even those games where it's not a lot of like jumping and platforming and like punching and stuff like that, where it's mostly QTE and stuff like that, I still feel like you kind of need to play a game in order to judge it because lot of how would that be divisive? Says Lindsay. Lindsay, don't be Lindsay. Lindsay. There's tons of people that look up like a wiki synopsis of a game, and then have an opinion about that game, or like look up a bunch of videos about a game and then review that game. There was like this really funny. That was also a review. Somebody reviewed Last of Us, and this is no spoilers or anything, but somebody reviewed Last of Us, and they were like, "It's really funny how like this many thousands of 0 out of 10 reviews came in for this game, like 20 hours into its release, even though the game takes way longer than 20 hours to beat. So like these people didn't even like play. They didn't like beat the game. They didn't play throughout the game before they gave a game a 0. And so I think a lot of people feel like playing the game from cover to cover isn't important. If they get the story, if somebody tells them the story and they watch somebody do it, then that's the same thing. And I disagree with that because I think a lot of video games is playing them, even though now we have progressed as a video game nation. Video game, wow. We've progressed as far as a video game society where now we don't just have, Mario jumping on turtles. We have like rich story and characters and cutscenes. So it's not just, you know, like a game. There's story to it now, narrative. But some people have completely gotten rid of the game part and only looked at the story or looked at some screenshots, looked at some gameplay, and they're like, yeah, I pretty much get the gist. I don't like this game. And I think that's rough. I think that's rough to give a game a bad review for that reason. Okay, anywho, I always go into games and movies, by the way, blind if I can. I think that's one of the reasons that I enjoyed Cloverfield, which is also divisive. A lot of people hated that movie. And I think the reason I enjoyed Cloverfield is because I had no idea what I was walking into. And it's just really hard to disappoint me when I don't know what I'm going into. Granted, I could have found the movie boring or just generally at face value uninteresting or disappointing, but I didn't. I was from 1 to 10, where 1 is I hate this movie to 10 is I absolutely love this movie, best thing I've ever seen. I was definitely over 5, so I was somewhere in like the favorable half. It wasn't the best movie I ever saw, but a lot of people just hated that movie. They're like, this isn't what I expected, and I don't know what I expected going in there. Okay, there are way more games nowadays, says Jesse. I couldn't finish Cloverfield, says Jesse also. I feel like Last of Us 2 would have been a lot better received if it wasn't leaked. Interesting. I didn't know about the leak, to be honest. I didn't even know that happened, Jesse. I've been like literally in like a bunker as far as that game or any game is concerned, so I didn't know that there was a leak. It's just so hard to imagine being so bold on a stance when you haven't even experienced the thing. That's like high schooler writing an essay from SparkNotes. Well, Lindsay, high schoolers do write essays from SparkNotes, and mad people have super bold stances on things, even though they haven't experienced them. Like how we had, and continue to have, so much discourse on police brutality from people who have never experienced police brutality or been even at risk of it. It's like a thing. I'll never underestimate the ability for people to feel educated on the topic when they aren't. Just feel like emboldened. But that being said, I try to go into most media blind. Now a book is a little bit different. I do. No, it's not actually. I don't really want to know that much about the book. I kind of want to know what it's about, and I'll read it. I want to see how thick it is, and I'll read it. Books, movies, video games, most media, I kind of like going in blind. I like watching Let's Plays, says Diz, But if there's a game I know I'd like to play, I will avoid watching one of it. Ah, beautiful, Diz. Beautiful. Hmm. Jelly Belly says, I like to get the most out of the game I spend my money on. Heck yeah, Jelly Belly. I don't disagree there. I mean, games are not cheap, so I would like to get all of the money's worth out of it. Chibi Lucy says I only watch Let's Plays of games I don't think I'd get to play. Yes, Chibi and Diz. I'm relating to you. I know these people exist. It's really hard to imagine being that way. Just ignorant and loud. Yeah, for sure, Lindsay, for sure. I hate wasting time, says Unbei. I don't really partake in anything I don't think will be good or decent. I think that's fair. I think that's true for most people, Unbei. I think I'm just trying to think about a game that I've hated, right? Because I feel like in general, as far as expectations go, because like some of you will know or do know, I'm not an Animal Crossing person. I don't play Animal Crossing. I have no interest in Animal Crossing or Stardew Valley, games like this. I don't care for these games. I don't want to play them. Now, I've never said that they're bad games. I've never said that I think they're bad games. I just feel like they're built for somebody that's not me. I feel confident in that statement, that I'm just not somebody that would be able to spend a lot of time in that. And so, that being said, I think that sometimes, like I said, the negative reviews come from people that have some weird expectations or just some expectations, period. If I went into Animal Crossing expecting it to be good for me specifically, I could see myself maybe writing a bad review. Not actually, because I'm not one of those people, but maybe in my head, like I have a bad review. Somebody asked me, and I'm like, oh yeah, I played Animal Crossing. That game is trash. Like, super boring. There's no boss fights, no blood. There was like no character development. Everything felt random and stupid. Couldn't even get a spaceship. I couldn't go anywhere. Like, I could see myself being disappointed by that game, but it's like I know what that game is. Generally, and when I say generally, I actually don't know what most of Animal Crossing is. I know what type of game it is, and I typically avoid that type of game, but I don't actually know what what happens in the game. I think you build stuff. I think you have villagers. I think you can talk to them. I think they can make things. I don't know. I think your island or neighborhood can have a rating. I don't know exactly who rates it. I guess if it gets a perfect rating, I don't know. Is the game over? I honestly don't know a lot about the minutia and like details of that game. But a lot of that is just because I don't dig too deep into games. And as far as Diz and Chibi saying that they only watch Let's Plays of games that they don't expect to play, I don't watch Let's Plays of games. Now, there's a huge exception to that rule. Typically, I like to play games, so watching somebody play a game is not fun for me. In the same way that I love to read books, and having somebody read a book to me is not fun. Like I don't like audiobooks. I like to actually open the book and read it myself. I like to be involved in the thing. However, I have watched. Crap, never mind. I guess I don't watch Let's Plays ever. Maybe my rule doesn't have an exception. There's this man who streams himself playing Grand Theft Auto in the mornings, but all he does is he plays the Grand Theft Auto races, like where it's all the ramps and stuff like that. He just plays those. And sometimes, like I think like twice a week, I'll like look at him for like 15 to 20 minutes. I'll just like watch him play like a race. And for some reason that doesn't feel like a Let's Play, even though I know it is. And it's the reason that it doesn't feel that way is because he's playing a game that doesn't have a story. He's playing at least a section of a game that does not have a story, so I don't feel like I'm soaking in any narrative content. I feel like I'm just watching like sports. It feels like I'm watching sports at that point. Anyways, the only Let's Play I watched is GTA role-playing ones. So good. Do your siblings game Omni, says Jesse. They do not. However, the only reason there was a Nintendo in my house is because of Amanda. I want to say that was Amanda's Super Nintendo. And Amanda, because I saw her playing Super Nintendo, I was like, I want to play, and every now and then she would let me play it. And then as she got more busy with like being an actual teenager and like leaving the house and stuff, I feel like the Nintendo became more of like a household Nintendo where like sometimes Candace would play on it, sometimes Ashley would play on it, I would play on it every now and then, sometimes Greg would be playing on it, which was funny. And then and then I just liked games. But nobody else in my family ever owned a console after that or before that. It was kind of like somebody bought a Super Nintendo. I was the one that ended up getting hooked to gaming, and then I started getting systems after that were kind of just for me. But no, I wouldn't say that my siblings game necessarily. Especially today. Today, 2020, I can confidently say I am the only of the litter of Rutledge kids that plays video games at all. I'm the only one that owns a console. Um, anyways, the Wasps take your organs, says Chibi. Talking about Animal Crossing. There are people who legit roleplay as cops in GTA. I have seen this. So watching someone mess with those types is really entertaining to me. What kind of individual do you have to be to roleplay a cop? Ah, we know that type of individual, Lindsay. You know who that person is. I grew up in a large household, and watching other people game feels like oh, I got in trouble and had to watch them have fun. Oh, Jesse. I'm also from a large household. And yeah, watching somebody play a game doesn't feel good. For me. I relate to you 100%, Jesse. Watching somebody do, just watching somebody do things. It's like, hey, I want to do the thing. When's my turn? It's always like, I got next. It would be kind of like if I walked into an arcade and somebody was playing like Metal Slug or House of the Dead, or they were playing Time Crisis, and I kind of just like pulled up a chair and like watched them play Time Crisis. Like, I'm not saying that that's not enjoyable for anyone. I'm just saying for me particularly, I'm like, I'm at the arcade. I'm gonna play some games. I don't want to watch you play a game. I want to wait until you die so I can hop on. And so, yeah. Let's plays aren't necessarily entertaining for me. Um, I love playing games by myself. I still enjoy watching someone else play something that I'm not good at. Ooh, I'm just good at things. That's what a stupid thing to say, but they're like all the games that I particularly enjoy, I am good at playing. Oh, I would say the only games that I'm not good at are sports games, which by the way I don't enjoy anyway. So I don't even know how you are good at a sports game. I don't know how that works. Like if you're good at 2K, what does that mean? I don't know. How many buttons? Can all the buttons really be in use on the PlayStation controller? If you have a just good team, like if you're a good team in real life, does that mean that your players are have more stats than a poor team? I actually don't know how sports games work, so I'm just gonna say I'm not good at them. But I mean, I'm good at shooting games. I'm good at RPGs. I mean, whatever that means. How do you be good at an RPG? It's all tactics. I'm good at action RPG. I'm just generally pretty good at. No, there has to be a game I'm not good at that I enjoy. Hmm. Spend too much time playing video games, I think. So I'm just kind of well rounded as far as like game skill, but I've spent way too much time playing video games. That's for sure. Because I'm good at rhythm games, pretty good at like stealth games are fun and good. What am I not good at? I guess I'm not good at I'm not good at like a lot of arc systems fighting games. So games like um, Guilty Gear, I would say that I'm not really good at. Games like Blaz Blue, not super good at. Dragon Ball Fighters, not really that good at that game. I'm good at fighting games, just their particular brand of fighter arc systems, like I don't really excel at anymore, especially now that I'm out of practice. Um, if you don't know enough about some games, it's hard to know what the skill ceiling is like. That's why esports is so hard to sell to an average viewer. Whoa. if you don't know enough about some games, it's hard to know where the skill ceiling is. Yeah. Wow. Oh my God. Umbe, what a very eloquently put point. Yeah, that's a very good point. One. Wow. That's a very good point. Wow. Okay, so the reason that that's good, I mean, if anybody that didn't get that, I hope you did get that because that was very, very smart, salient point. But I was recently watching Tekken tournament, and I was really impressed by something I saw on screen, and I was like, you know what? I had that same thought while it was way less eloquent and way less coherent. Umbe, I did remember thinking like, how are we ever going to make esports anywhere near the size as actual sports? Because people that look at basketball, even if they don't really understand basketball, they can kind of tell when a good thing is happening, or they can tell when somebody's just being outplayed. When they see, they can tell what's going on. If you're looking at something like freaking League of Legends or something like that, you can't really and you don't know League of Legends, you can't really tell when something impressive happens. You just kind of hear all of the kids in the crowd go like, "Oh my God!" and you're kind of just looking at a bunch of like numbers fly across the screen. Like, is that good? Who's the good guy? Did they win? It's super confusing. Fighting games a little bit easier, but even some fighting games, like if you looked at like the iconic what is it, Justin Long versus Daigo with the Ken versus Chun Li like tech chain. If you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry about it. I'm not gonna really explain it, but something impressive a long time ago happened in a tournament, Street Fighter 3, and it looks pretty cool. But unless you've played the game, you don't realize how actually impressive what's happening on the screen is. You don't realize how difficult the thing is to pull off that's happening because you haven't played the game. And wow, that's such a good point, Nbe. Yeah. Anyhow, maybe a reason you don't like games like Animal Crossing is because there is no way you can be good or bad at it. Like there is no overarching goal to achieve, says Diz. I'm trying to search my brain, Diz, to make sure that there are no games that I enjoy that. Is there a game that I enjoy that doesn't have a goal or overarching thing? Diz, you might be onto something. Yeah. I think that. Oh, am I gonna sneeze? What's going on? Okay. I think Diz that the thing I've said this before in a stream. Now I didn't use those exact words. Thanks, Lindsay. But I said what Animal Crossing does for the people who love Animal Crossing, I get from other things in my life. When I've talked to the crossers, the animals, crossheads, I don't know what you guys call yourselves, villagers. When I've had talks with you all, you have told me why you like this game. You said this game is relaxing. This game is expressive for me. I'm allowed to build this thing how I want it to be. I feel like the world is stressful and this is very therapeutic for me. A lot of people have given me like a long laundry list of reasons why they enjoy playing Animal Crossing. And I think to get those things out of life, I just, for whatever reason, never turned to games for those things. When I want to feel the things that seems to be supplied from playing Animal Crossing, I personally in my life will usually like plant things in real life. There's actually some cucumbers growing downstairs, which I'm pretty excited for because I'm getting sidetracked. Anyways, plant things, or I will clean or reorganize my apartment, or I'll learn a new recipe. Guys, I love cooking, and cooking is a thing that is very therapeutic for me. As Diz says about my gaming thing, it is something that you can kind of be good or bad at, so maybe that doesn't count. But it does give me that same feeling of like therapy, and it's calming and soothing, and I feel a sense of joy from like putting ingredients together and then like standing back at the end and looking at like a plate and going like, hey, I made this. This is like really cool. And it's very fun for me. Cooking's very fun. So I totally get why people like Animal Crossing. And the things that Animal Crossing gives to people, I think I also get just for whatever reason, not from video games. I get it from like real life stuff. Um, I actually want to talk about cooking at some point, but food talk. Yay! We don't need food talk, but yeah, cooking is that for me. There's a game called Overcooked, that I love. You can definitely be good or bad at that game. There is a pretty steep difficulty curve for Overcooked, but I'm pretty good at it. And that game does not at all give me the same feeling that actually cooking does. A cooking video game is hey, what's up, Quantum? A cooking video game, very very fun, very stressful, very rewarding. Cooking can be stressful, can be rewarding, can be fun, but I'm getting two completely different emotional benefits from those two things. Anyhow, this is a hot take, but I don't count esports in the same as actual sports. I mean, as the same as actual sports. I don't. I was about to say I don't think any of us do, but I'm wrong. I know a lot of people do, but I think that those people are trying to put it on the same level as esports, right? I mean, as sports. I don't think we see them at the same level. I think that people want esports to be taken seriously in the world, and so they're kind of trying to force the perspective that esports and sports are the same. But no, they're very, very different industries. Um, very different industries. Okay, because in an esport game, everything that can possibly happen is already programmed into the game. Hmm? That's not my reasoning, but yeah, that could be a valid reason. Aren't you the guy who remakes Gucci Gang? I'm one of them. I'm one of them, Quantum. K3D says, I don't see the point in cooking of a cooking video game if I don't get to eat anything at the end. I guess it's less dishes, says K3D. Okay, so K3D, I agree with you. However, I would say that Overcooked actually is not a game about cooking. I could say that it is a timed puzzle game masquerading as a cooking game. Because there's no actual cooking, really. There's a lot of like, okay, chop onion, put onion on pan. Onion just turns into sauteed onion. Put onion on burger. Get this out. And while that's happening, there's like people running around the kitchen and there's rats stealing your food and there's like fire. There's fire starting. You have to take a fire extinguisher. It's just more so a puzzle game that has a cooking theme. As far as actual cooking games like Cooking Mama, I agree with you there, K3D. It's like if I'm going to spend time actually making a cool, good meal, I'm going to want to eat it at the end. But I understand some people just get joy from cooking, regardless of whether it is a thing they can actually eat. I know some people that actually cook things that they physically cannot eat for other people. They like cook them for other people because they find that therapeutic. A game that teaches us actual recipes could be alright. I think that's what Cooking Mama does. Somebody clarify if they've played that game. I actually don't play that game, but somebody told me that the recipes are pretty accurate and you can actually replicate some of those things in real life. But correct me if I'm wrong. K3D loves cooking shows. I don't like cooking shows for the same reason you said you don't like cooking games. I like food. I like to eat it. And like looking at somebody make cool food, unless they're just teaching me how to make something, that can be cool. If the cooking show was just somebody saying, hey, want to learn how to make, I don't know, nutmeg waffle? Here's how you make nutmeg waffle. And I would look at the video once, maybe twice, and then I would make nutmeg waffle and never watch the video again. But I don't particularly like cooking shows. I loved Cooking Mama. It was so cute, says Lindsay. Word. I'm glad. I'm glad that it did the thing I thought it did. I'd rather play guitar in real life, says Diz. Okay, I'm not gonna touch that. I'm gonna move. I'm gonna bulldoze through it, but because I've had that discussion. I've had the guitar discussion in a stream before, and I don't want to rerun anybody to death. I only played the demo, but yeah, that's when Nintendo was trying to do the education angle, like Brain Age and Cooking Mama. So probably word up Umbe. K3D says peeps in the chat. Is it just me or is his sound really low? Is my sound low? I'm sorry if you can't hear me, K3D. Good Eats is about the only cooking show I like. Alton Brown is a food scientist and teaches how the cooking actually works. That's important, Jesse. Yeah, it has to be educational. I have to be able to take these skills somewhere. It can't just be me watching somebody make a pretty thing. There's a guitar game that actually teaches you, which is cool. Yes, there is. That is a thing that exists. Um, this is completely unrelated, but I also got a mini Akai MPK recently. I was fooling around with the percussion, and suddenly it started sounding like key lime, and I got really excited. Was it like drum and bass? I can hear it in my head. I do love that song. Um, Gonna head out. Bye, Diz. Diz is leaving. Thank you for everything, Diz. For good conversation and for being in the stream, being consistent. I appreciate you. Wow. Am I gonna actually end at 2 hours? It's been so long. It's been so long since I've had a punctual end of the stream, guys. The witness is $40. Why did I think it'd be cheaper? I guess for the same reason I thought it would be cheaper, Lindsay. It is not new. I don't know why it's $40. I actually think when I got the witness, either it was on sale or it was free. It might have been like a free game for PSN that month, maybe. Did you know you had a shout out in Kenny Beach stream a while ago? I did know that, K3D. I did know that. I feel like nothing happens. I feel like my name is never uttered by a famous person without a bunch of my fans like steamrolling into my Instagram and Twitter DMs going like, yo, 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 Post Malone just said Omni Boy right here at 3 minutes and 27 seconds. You gotta watch this, bro. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Even though it sounds like I'm making fun of the situation, I appreciate it because like I don't have like my ear to the ground a lot of the time. So like the worst thing could actually be happening. Somebody could like, and I would have to rely on like a fan to randomly tell me like, hey man, like Donald Trump just put out a hit on you for some reason. I'm like, oh crap, what? Dang, I haven't checked my Twitter moments. Is it bad? Is it bad out there? Should I still like? So thank you. JD says, what's wrong with Post? Lindsay says, ew, not Post Malone. I'm not gonna comment. I'm not gonna comment. But no, that's cool. Yeah, like I think there's this. I'm not gonna spend too much time here. I'm not gonna spend too much time here because I did in a previous stream, but something that I'm getting a lot better at recently, and I'll say this, JD. Something that I'm getting a lot better at is not expecting anything from anybody. And when I say that, what I mean is sometimes you think as an artist, wow, this is so unrelated to what we were just talking about, but sometimes you think as an artist, you have to get the thing. You have to get the thing. Something I love about games and TV shows and movies lately, it's been happening for a long time, even as far back as Shakespeare plays, but I feel like right now in like a lot of modern media, there's this new narrative concept now where you set up a goal, you set a thing on a pedestal for somebody to work for, and the person works for the thing, they achieve the thing, and they're not happy. Or it didn't do what they thought it would do. You know, they wanted $1 million, now they have $1 million, and their life still sucks, and they're confused. Or they want to win a Grammy, now they won a Grammy, and it didn't change anything. They're still unfulfilled. And I think that that's like a weird, difficult narrative piece of content or story device for people to appreciate, because I think a lot of people see it as pointless. They're like, well, there is no point to this journey then. And I think that life's journeys don't always have a point or like a fun little lesson at the end. Sometimes you just do a thing and then you get to the end and you're like, oh crap, well, nothing changed. And I think a lot of times in art, specifically in music, because I'm a musician, people will think, oh, if I could just get my name in the door, or if I could just like meet this person, or if they could just hear my music, or if I could just play Red Rocks, or if I could just go on one tour, or if I could just play this one festival, or if I could just get this one keyboard, that it would really change things for the course of their career, or the course of their education, or the course of their life, um, creativity, etc. But something that I'm getting a lot better with in recent years is like letting go of those things. And this is not this isn't about Post Malone, although it can be related to Post Malone if I make it. But I think that in general, I'm getting better at that. I'm getting better at that, and something that a thing that I think I was upset. When was this? When was this? I don't know. I talked about it in the stream, right? I talked about it for a little while in the stream. Hold on, because this is about to get kind of maybe a little bit upsetting. K3D said, I just want to say that when I listen to Sunflower, I always skip right before the post starts singing. Skip right before post starts singing. I believe I have an unhealthy relationship with happiness, says K3D. Good morning, says Liana. Late because work is super busy right now. I hope you're okay, Liana. I hope work's not killing you, and thank you for making it into the stream. We all missed you. The upsetting thing was, what was I about to say that was upsetting? Got sidetracked. Yada. Let's talk about getting the thing not being where you want it to be. Because I was talking about when like EDM.com or whatever the blog it was like posting my ad and saying people should listen to me, or like when Caro Bonita was posting my ad and being like people should listen to me, and I said the reason why I was frustrated through all that is because those people don't actually ever help me or anything, and a lot of their shout outs felt tone deaf because one, they were only shouting me out because like they happened to be paying attention to the Black Lives Matter movement and wanted to be socially active or socially conscious for a second. And then the second reason why I was a little upsetting is because I was like, oh, these people definitely know I exist. They remember me. They just never do anything about it until they feel pressured to make like a weird kind of empty, tone deaf tweet or blog post. And so I think that was eye opening in a good way, because it's like, hey, nothing's gonna matter, like I think somebody might think like, yo, if I could just get like a retweet from Taylor Swift, that'll make my career. If I could just get blank, it'll make it. If I could just get blank, it'll make it. But something that you have to remind yourself is, and probably won't, the thing will happen and you'll still remain yourself. You'll still be you. At the end of anyone's career, there definitely is going to be some things that change the course of your career. There's a lot of like milestone moments I can call back to in my career where it was like, oh crap, without that, I don't know that I would be here. But I think a lot of the ones that I focused on, the goal milestones, like I gotta get this so I can get this, a lot of those things didn't necessarily change things like I thought they would. Watching Saved by the Bell made me think that when I got to high school, my life was gonna get super cool, and it didn't really. I was a little bit older, I was a little bit more anxious, but my life wasn't necessarily. Oh, that's good. My life wasn't necessarily cooler. And yeah, I was like, oh, if I get a keyboard, maybe then. If I get this, maybe then. But you have to make your peace with that, as K3D is saying. And so sometimes people will say, so when people flood in with the like, yo, bro, did you see like so-and-so knows who you are? Did you know? Hey, Omni, did you know Thundercat knows who you are? Did you know, like, freaking Kenny Beats? He was listening to your music in the stream, and I'm like, yeah, for sure. I definitely believe that. I believe those things happened and are regularly happening. But I'm not saying it doesn't matter, but I'm saying it doesn't have the same impact that I think a lot of people assume it would. Like, my homie, never mind, I'm not going to talk about my homie, because I don't want to mention people by name. I think it's good to have goals, but to think that one goal will make or break your journey is setting yourself up for disappointment. For sure, for sure. You gotta just let things happen. Let things happen. I can say, for majority, not always, but the majority of the big catalysts of my career were not those preconceived big moments or big goals. It was a lot of times like a really small thing. For example, okay, so I'm working on a soundtrack right now to, hold on. Having 500 people who actually care about your work is more than 10,000 people who just follow you for clout. Yeah, clout's garbage. It doesn't matter. It can open some doors for sure. Clout can open some doors, but sometimes it won't get you to where you need to go. What was I saying? Oh, I was about to say something really good. Goals that. Oh yeah. So I'm working on a game soundtrack right now. You want to know how I got this? Oh man, I might have to flag this stream and delete it later. I don't know if I'm breaking NDA. I think I'm good. I think I'm good. You definitely can't know the game K3D. I'm doing like a weird like some fancy footwork with the words that I'm about to choose so that I'm in the clear. But no, you can't know the game. My sister just walks in and says, "You look cool, Omni." Oh, tell your sister I says thanks. Oh, what a really nice thing to say. Wow. I wish anybody said that to me ever. Now, I'm working on a game score. Here's how I got the ability to work on that game score. When I moved to Los Angeles, and I had just recently gotten an apartment. Wait, hold on. Let me back up even more. Go further back. In 2014, before I lived in Los Angeles, I came out here to see a J-pop band. There's a J-pop group called Perfume that was doing their first U.S. tour, and they were playing in Hollywood at the Hollywood Palladium. And I was such a weeb at the time that I was like, there is zero way that the J-pop band I've been listening to for the past 5 years is coming to America for the first time and I'm not at that show. I don't know if I need to buy a plane ticket. I don't know if I need to rent a car. My car was broken down at the time. I was like, I don't know if I need to rent a car, but I'm getting to this show. So I buy the ticket, I rent a car, and I drive out to Los Angeles with my girlfriend at the time. Which for some reason my brain really tries to delete her from that memory. All the time, but she was there. Anyways, so I drive out with her. We get to Hollywood. I wait in this really long line. I get to see this band, and then there was also a lot of artists in line to see Perfume, like artists that I knew from the internet, that I was like fans of. Not that I knew, we weren't talking or anything, but I was seeing people get in line for Perfume, and I was like, oh my god, it's them. I know them. Around the time of that show, there was another show, very small, like punk type show. Not punk in the music, but punk in the atmosphere. A punk type show that happened at a game development studio out here in Los Angeles, and it was free, so I went. I went to this show, and it was weird because there was a show happening like here, and then if you just turned a little bit here, you could see people literally working at desks, like working on games. And I was like, that's kind of funny. Fast forward to 2015, I've moved out here to Los Angeles, and another show happens there. I go to that show, and then another show happens there, and I get booked for that show because of a lot of work I was putting in that I'm not going to get into for the sake of this story being brief. So I get to play at this gaming studio. Somebody approaches me at the game studio and was like, yo, you're Omniboy, right? I really like your music, yada, yada, yada. And I was like, oh, this is really cool. I love I love this studio. I love these shows. Like, half of the reason I even moved to Los Angeles is because I came to a show at this place and thought, like, yo, nothing like this happens in Arizona. Me and the person ended up hitting it off, and they were like, yo, when I get to work on a game, like a bigger game, you're doing the soundtrack to it. you're doing the soundtrack. You got it. And I was like, yo, I'd be honored. That's amazing because at the time I was making stuff like Nice Stream. I wanted to make music for video games and anime. And so, anyways, I was honored. That was in 2015, and now it's 2020, and I'm working on that game. So it's a really cool like narrative. There's a lot of stuff I'm skipping over that was like disappointing or lost time here, lost time there. There's a lot of stuff, but in that journey, if I'm focusing on the book ends of it, it's like I meet this person in 2015. They say they would like to work with me in the future. 5 years later, they get the game and I get to work on it. But I think that in general, making moves or whatever to to work on video game music, there was a lot of big moments, right? Like I got to go to E3. I got to shake a lot of hands with people at E3. I got to go to GDC, which is Game Developers Conference, which happens in San Francisco. I got to literally perform at that. I got to perform at GDC several times, meeting people. Me and C418, the dude that did the music to Minecraft, became friends that weekend, and like me and him talk now. Like I made so many cool networking connections in the video game music world. I got to meet Keita Takahashi, who was also at the show, the dude that made Katamari, which was a big deal for me. Well, sorry, it was a big deal for me because I love Katamari. But like he was there, and I was like, yo, I didn't even know this dude lived in San Francisco now. Like, how do I talk to this dude without just like being a nerd, like a puddle on the floor? That dude. Anyways, all those were like big things to me, big things in my head. But the only reason that I'm actually working on a game score right now is because of some small conversation that happened 5 years ago. So like a lot of those big milestone markers that people set their sights on and hinge their careers or expectations on sometimes don't end up um, panning out the way they think, you know. But a lot of the smaller ones do. So if you're ever feeling like a little dejected by the course of your career or that path because you feel like a lot of the big things have been disappointing, maybe try to look for some of the smaller things that have gotten to you where you are. Because, um, yeah, sorry, I'm just thinking of Katamari now. It's wild how transformative the smallest moments are. Yeah, for sure. I like that. Transformative small moments are very important to me now. In fact, I would argue that maybe none of my big moments have been transformative. All of my big moments have been like kind of forgettable. Um, the only reason I whoa, wow, yeah. Most of the really cool things, guys, have been small. If you don't take anything else from all the stupid stuff that I've said, just everything you see happening is because of small stuff. Nothing was big. The only reason I'm streaming is because of a small thing, right? Like, um, Instagram started allowing people to do live streams, and I started streaming just to one person, um, and that was it. And so the streaming started with like a small thing. I was just bored. I was bored. The MIDI fighter started as a very small thing. I think the only reason I actually have a MIDI fighter, the only reason I'm sponsored by DJ Tech Tools is because of like a Google Hangout chat, a Google Hangout group chat that I was in 2013, that long ago, and I didn't get sponsored by DJ Tech Tools until 2017, 4 years later. Uh, the Yamaha sponsorship, very, very slow. The only reason the Yamaha sponsorship happened, honestly, is holy, yeah, all of them are from small things. The Verizon sponsorship technically happened because the Yamaha sponsorship happened, and the Urban Outfitters sponsorship happened technically because of somebody that I met in Brooklyn at an Airbnb. I went to the wrong Airbnb, so that could even just be, you could just say that was a coincidence. Playing this, making this game score because of the thing that happened back in 2015. The only reason I got to play in Toronto is because I did a remix for Universal Music Group, which I only got to do because me and Slow Magic liked each other's music years ago, and Slow Magic ended up being signed to a label that was an imprint of Universal Music Group, which then commissioned me to make a remix, and then they ended up putting me on a tour that had me play in Toronto, where I met the person who is now doing the merch for my t-shirts, who actually lives really close to Jeannie, who designed the shirt that I'm wearing right now, who did the art for 1/Million, which is a song I made with Ehi, who I only know because we ran into each other in Manhattan at a venue called Cake Shop. Cake Shop? Yes, Cake Shop, which I only got to play because there was a Paper Crane collective show there, which I was only in Paper Crane because I made a song called Cloud Surfing that got posted by a blog called Nest HQ. And then the leader of Paper Crane saw it and then asked me to join. At that show, I also met Fuge, which ended up being on Speed Dream, which is a body of work I only made because I was really into Initial D, which I found, by the way. Initial D, the only reason I'm into Initial D is because I found an Initial D manga. There used to be a bookstore called Borders. For those of you guys that don't remember Borders, it was like Barnes and Nobles, except slightly better. Sorry. No, I'm trying to hate on it. They were basically the same thing. It was like Sam Ash and Guitar Center. Barnes and Nobles and Borders. But for whatever reason, Borders would throw away a lot of books. This is really weird. I don't know if maybe this was just the one by me, but if you went to Borders, like their dumpster in the back had like that little bar thing locked on it. But me and I miss you, Anthony. But anyways, me and my friend Anthony broke it, and we would just go and looking through the garbage in Borders, which it's Borders, so it's not like it's a bunch of like food and dirty stuff. It's just like a lot of paper and plastic. It's just like a recycling thing. And so there was actual books in there, and I found the Initial D manga, and it was volume 6, I think. And I just read volume 6 of Initial D over and over and over, having no idea what the lead up to that point in the story was, or the part after that story was. I just kept reading that. And then I got really into drifting from that, and then Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift came out, and I watched that, and I was like, how do I get more of this? And somebody was like, yo, there's an anime to Initial D. And I was like, are you freaking kidding me? And I watched that, and then yeah, small things happen. It's just a bunch. It's just a chain of events, guys. There isn't a lot of big milestone moments for me. The big milestone moment for me was playing in Tokyo, or playing in Toronto, or having a tour period, or doing an official remix for Lion Babe. Those are big moments, but they were facilitated by very, very small things. So, if you take anything from this conversation, just know that small things are the big thing. Small things create big things. I've said this in music too. Focus on minutia. Lindsay says it's really funny to me how life works that way. The things that are most influential aren't planned, it seems. I have one of the wackos that don't believe in coincidences, says Chibi Lucy. Chibi Lucy, I will grant you that. I think it's possible. This is a hotter take. I think it's because I don't necessarily believe in fate. Do I believe in coincidence? I think some things are engineered, and I think some things are not. That is my take on it. I think some things I've made happen, and I think some things have just happened. And I think without time travel or the sands of time, there's no way that we can, disprove one or the other between fate and coincidence. But that's where I lie. I lie somewhere in the middle. I'm like agnostic. If one's religious and one's atheist, I'm somewhere in the agnostic. Like, I don't know. Stuff happens, I guess. I don't have that luck, says K3D. I still struggling to find an animation studio to show me love, K3D says. So, K3D, because you use the word luck. Borders just revived repressed memories. Word up, Bay. K3D. I don't believe in luck. However, I do believe in chance, which is not the same. Probability. Let's throw away the word chance. I believe in probability, K3D, and I think that a lot of things can happen for you in your life, and a lot of things can happen for me in my life. However, they kind of revolve around a probability scale. Now, anything can happen, right? Wild card, right? Like I could get somebody could like run me over with a car on my way to get lunch today. Somebody could do that, and it's not something I'm prepared for. Honestly, I'm not prepared to be ran over today, but it could happen. But there's probabilities to things, right? K through D, and I think that a lot of the things that have happened in my life that are positive or negative happen because I did things to increase the probability of them a lot of the time. K through D. Now I know a lot of random acts do happen, horrible things and good things, right? Like finding a $20 bill or getting jumped on the way, home from work. Sometimes things just happen. But I think for my career, I've been trying to, within reason, increase the probability of things working my way. For example, K through D, I didn't move to Los Angeles. I don't want to understate how big that move was. The fact that I moved out here, a lot of the opportunities that I've gotten out here in comparison to the opportunities that I experienced in Arizona are almost night and day. I wouldn't be making this game score right now if I hadn't come out here to Los Angeles. I wouldn't have gotten those tours if I hadn't come out here to Los Angeles. I wouldn't have made those connections if I hadn't come out here to Los Angeles. Probably wouldn't even be streaming like this if I hadn't come out here and moved to Los Angeles. You guys maybe wouldn't know who I was, etc., etc., etc. The list goes on. The move was big. And there's a lot of other things I've done, intermittently also to increase the probability of this thing. Like, oh, I kind of want to be able to work for so-and-so. Maybe I should hang out, and network around where so-and-so is. But I think, I don't necessarily consider it luck. I think it's just an increase of probability. I think that you saying that animation studios don't show you love could be very comparable to me saying that music labels don't show me love, which they do not. Music labels don't show me any love at all. But there are things that I could do, K3D, to increase the probability of a music label showing me love. They're just not things either that I can afford to do, either financially or emotionally and mentally, There are things I want to do with my music project that maybe are in direct odds with what would make me more lovable or noticeable by a music label. Okay. I think fate can be a slippery slope because then you might attribute avoidable mistakes to, well, admit it was meant to happen, or you can apply meanings to things that are just random. Yeah, fate's rough. I find fate rough for the opposite reason too. Yeah, where it's like you have to take agency or like responsibility for some of the things in your life, and you have to be able to let go of some others. The responsibility of some other things. KDD agrees with me. Yeah, it's rough. It's rough, KDD. There are a lot of there's a lot of things. Moving to Los Angeles, that's thing one. Hanging out with nothing but other musicians made me improve as a musician. Being a very active member of the SoundCloud community when it existed made me a better producer. I put myself in positions so that I can improve at the thing. In the same way that if you want to improve at Japanese, maybe getting a tourist visa and living in Japan for 3 months could probably do that. It could probably do that a lot faster than sitting in your kitchen on Duolingo can. However, can you afford to live in Japan for 3 months? Maybe not. If I remix K3D, if I remix a Migos song or what's homie's name? A Lil Pump song. If I remix a Kendrick song, a Drake song, if I remix these songs and put those out on the timeline with me dancing around and playing a keyboard a bunch and going like, ha 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 ha, isn't this fun? Kids, you like this, right? If I do that, it's increasing the odds that people are going to listen to my music, which is why so many people come in and go like, oh my god, the Gucci Gang chords, right? And I have to go and I play those 3 chords and people go, oh wow. That extends my reach. It increases the probability that people will hear my music because people already like Lil Pump. People already like Migos. and I kind of get nudged into the conversation a little bit. Um, there are a lot of small things that I've done to increase the probability that I will have success in certain ventures. And sometimes it can be at direct odds with you or your agency or your ethics or whatever. But I don't believe in luck. I believe in probability. I think that if your name is Jaden Smith and your dad's Will Smith, then you just have a high probability that if you release a song, it's probably going to do pretty well. You know, there's enough money behind it, there's enough name recognition behind it that it's not going to tank. It's not going to just die in the water. Probability's too high. Anyhow, somehow I forgot how many artists are here, which Omni is an artist. How would that not attract other artists? Yeah, artists attract artists, baby. Very true. I struggle balancing doing things because they popular and doing things for me. Ooh, K3D. That is a great conversation for another stream because we're almost at 2:30 now. We're almost at 2:30, but I've had that argument, or not argument. I've had that discussion in the stream pretty often, right? Where it isn't necessarily black or white. We all exist somewhere in the gray, and if sometimes we lose sight of what we would be. What would I be if I only cared about being popular? What would my music sound like? What would I dress like? What would I look like? What would I speak like? And also, if I only cared about doing things that fulfilled me, what would I look like? What would I dress like? What would I speak like? What would my music sound like? And that barometer, I feel like I exist a little bit more on the side that's doing things authentic to myself. But I would be lying if I said that I hadn't stretched over here and done things just because I knew that it would make me a little bit more popular. Remixing hip hop tracks is fun and something that I would do anyway. However, making videos of me playing them like around my room, that's for Twitter, guys. I don't need to tell you guys, that's for Twitter. Anytime you see even quarantunes, guys, that's not for Spotify. Like that's not those songs don't even exist on music platforms. That's literally for social media. Those songs exist specifically to feed people on social media that need to be entertained. It's not a music output. Those songs aren't music releases. It would be that song is the musical equivalent of me posting a meme. It's like, okay, I haven't put anything on Instagram in a while. Granted, it's really high effort because it takes me about a week or two to do, but putting together this thing to entertain people on social media, not to fulfill me. Making the song I'm Not Dead or making the song Old Enough or making the song Honeydew were very fulfilling to me. Recording myself playing it several times, editing that, putting like a fun little video together with lyrics, that's not for me anymore. This has now surpassed my needs and my fulfillment and been extended to the audience and gone like, this is just for you guys. This is so that you guys can have fun with this. You can laugh at this and share this. This is no longer just fulfilling to me. And I think K3D, I'm constantly sliding that scale depending on what I can do, you know. If you want to make money, it helps to be a little bit more popular, right? But if you want to be happy, it helps to be a little bit more authentically yourself. And somewhere in the middle. Oh, word up. Kiwi, I hope you have a good day I almost said good day at lunch. I hope you have a good day at work. Watching streams like Omni's is how you grow stronger as an artist, says Bang. Oh, man. Am I giving you all my artist strength? Am I growing weaker? I definitely am hungry. Okay, guys, I have 2 releases out. One's called Ego Death. The other one is called Quick Breath. Oh, is K3D's name Eddie? Sorry, I must have missed when you said your name was Eddie. I'm glad I know that though now. You can hear all of my music, including Ego Death and Quick Breath, on Bandcamp, SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, Google Play, Amazon MP3, Tidal, Groove, Deezer, Pandora, Napster, and YouTube. The reason I'm going so fast is because they're about to start up some landscaping things. They're about to start up a weed whacker. It's about to get really loud in here, guys. As far as news and touring and things like that, that's it. There's really nothing. I'm just doing the streams right now. I am going to be going to Arizona this weekend to do some stuff with my car. I'll let you guys know as soon as I know. How those streams are going to look, because I am going to be probably in Arizona even towards the beginning of next week. So we'll see. But I decided that instead of leaving Friday after the stream, because I don't want to like be in a stream for 6 hours on Friday and then immediately get up and then drive and sit down. I don't want to sit down on my computer for 6 hours and then sit down in my car for 6 hours. I just can't do it. So I'm going to leave for Arizona just early Saturday morning instead. So no pressure on the Friday stream, guys. I will be here all day Friday. Okay, word up. I will, Kiwi. Oh, Christ. Yeah, I will. But that's it for news. I do want to thank everybody for being respectful to me and polite to each other. It's the internet, so I know that that's really hard to do sometimes. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Remember, tomorrow is a production stream. Tomorrow is a production stream. Every Friday is the production stream. It is going to be longer. They're roughly 6 hours. So come in whenever. If you don't want to come in at 9, you want to come in at noon, you want to come in at 2 p.m., just come in whenever. Anytime is fine. Just keep in mind that I probably, if you ask me to like dig into a track and I'm already building one, I won't take the time to go and do that later. So if you do want me to like open up or dig into a track, try to come in towards the beginning of the stream. I am Pacific Standard Time, Eddie. I am Pacific Standard Time. I do live in Los Angeles, so 9 a.m. my time. 2 hours ago, wherever you are right, or 2.5 hours ago, wherever you are right now. Yeah, enjoy the day, guys. Enjoy the day. I'll see you tomorrow. I will. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Guys, I almost didn't play freaking Hush Hour. What the heck? I literally, I actually had, I had my hand on the close stream button. Wow. Oh, what a fatal mistake that would have been. Leona, why didn't you say anything? Oh my goodness, that would have been so sad. I would have been so upset. No, 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 no. Okay. This song's called Hush Hour. It ends each stream. Yeah, the gardeners really got me messed up. Okay. Yeah, we barely made it. I'm glad that they came at the end and not the beginning. Jesus. Alright. Abo, everybody. Thank you for being respectful and polite to each other. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Thursday. I'll see you here tomorrow. For 190. Oh, we're so close to 200. Abo, everybody.